Today I'm going to be showing you how I made my son's Murphy bed.
Before we get started with the build video, I should give you a quick tour of the bed and how it works. As you can see in this video, when folded up everything is nicely tucked away and it folds down to reveal the bed already made and ready for kids to jump on, or you know.
Stuff.
What sort of stuff?
Super cool stuff you wouldn't understand.
Like sleeping?
It's even so light that my kids can put it up, no problem. Wait on. This is the crappy old one made from MDF that I made about a year ago, and it's falling apart. Ugh, let's get back to the real one. Where were we?
Changing from this to this. As you can see, this beautiful... Wait, what's going on here? Why isn't this working? Ah, that's it. Yeah, this is what I... Wait, where did all this stuff come from? And what happened to my clothes? Alright, where were we? Okay, this is the bed. You can't probably see much of it on the camera, there's no good camera angle for it. But it's installed. As you can see, it's not finished. I mean, it's not even finished, I haven't even sanded it down. But the last one was falling apart, so we had to replace it. This is obviously part 1. Part 2 of the video will be coming out, so make sure you're subscribed for that. Yeah, but let's get started with the build video.
The best part of a Murphy bed is, of course, that it folds away. Well, this bed does that, but it does a couple of other things that make it extra special. The first thing is that all the parts disassemble so the bed can be moved easily. Extra handy when shifting house. The bed frame is held together by 8 bolts, and only 12 bolts are needed to hold the stand together. Compared to the old bed, which did not come apart at all, this is particularly handy. I'll show you the effort involved in removing the old bed later in the video. The second special thing about this bed is that it can be configured to have the drawers on the left or the right, but that's not finished yet and will be detailed in part 2. Let me show you around the components of the bed. Here you can see them all laid out on the floor. Let's start with the stand. With the base down, I can put the frames in place. You will see 3 frames. The large space between is where the bed goes and the narrow space is for the drawers. Here you can see me lifting the top and fastening it into place. These long pieces are the sides of the bed frame, next are the ends, and finally the slats go in place. These expert drawings that you see here are plans that I drew up. Feel free to copy these if you want to make this bed. We'll talk about these in more detail as we go through.
Dad, how is anybody supposed to copy your writing when your writing is so average?
This is me unloading the timber that I bought for this project. It's 2x2 boards of glulam Bremu, but because they're dressed, they're about 43mm square. This is perfect for the project as I won't have to mill anything down to start using it. I'm going to start this project by making the frame for the bed, as this is the critical component which all other measurements need to be taken from. To find the size for the bed frame, I measured the mattress, then added 100mm extra to the width and an extra 50 to the length. This extra space is to correct a design flaw in the old frame. The extra space allows you to tuck the sheets in under the mattress. In the old bed, you have to lift the mattress out of the frame to tuck the sheets in, which was unnecessarily hard. I didn't add any extra space for the head of the bed, as the mattress will be positioned against the head so that it does not slide when the bed folds up. These measurements give you the internal dimensions of the frame, but don't start cutting just yet. The long pieces can be cut to the internal length, but for the width of the frame I added twice the width of the boards extra to get the final length. I'm also making the height of the frame low enough so that the mattress will be higher than the frame. This makes the bed more comfortable to sit on. Another design flaw solved. Now we have our measurements, we can start cutting up the lengths as we need them. You can see here all the cross-cut braces cut to length, and then cutting the long sides and the shorter ends. The frames for the bed and the stand are a simple truss design, like a ladder. I like to keep things simple. To make them, I just cut my main boards and braces to length, spread the braces along the length of the main boards, and half lap them together.
That process starts with marking out where to cut the half lap joints.
which you can see me doing here. Then I cut the bulk out with my table saw. This isn't actually sped up, by the way. This is my actual working speed.
Then I don't know why it takes so long. Oh, darling, I'm just teasing.
Here, I am cutting the half laps on the end of the brace pieces. That was a lot of work. The bandsaw needed a good clean after this. Just have to clear out the half laps in the long boards, but this way is taking too long, so I'm resorting to plan B.
Well, we still got time for plan B. I like plan B. Plan B! Plan B!
When you're flying by the seat of your pants, nothing sounds more official than a plan B.
Plan B, power tools. In this case, the router table. I was using the router to finesse the depth of the half laps. After getting some tear out, which you can see here, I started clamping a bit of scrap to the edge. This stopped any more tear out occurring. And now onto the glue up. As you can see, I'm using the patented Pete's Practice glue spreader.
Just don't even think about copycatting. We have lawyers.
Here I am gluing up the shorter end sections of the frame. If you look closely, you will see that I have placed the brace pieces inset from the end. The amount of the inset is the width of the boards. The longer side sections, I'm placing the braces right on the end. I need 4 more pieces that will be attached to each end of the side sections. This will lock into the end sections of the frame so the frame is securely held together. Instead of trying to measure the length accurately, I just mark it off on the gap where it is supposed to go. I then cut the lengths out and check that it fits. I snuck up on the exact fit by taking a bit more until it was snug. Too snug actually. Later I had to go back and remove a smidge from each end to get a good fit. I lost the footage of me gluing these pieces in place. It doesn't matter though, because I glued them on the side instead of the end, which you can see me about to realise here. Here I am pondering how I made such a stupid mistake, and after a minor existential crisis, I realise I need to stop whining about how stupid I am and just fix it. It's not so much that I need to cut the bits off and attach them in the correct place, but how am I going to do it? I can't put it through my table saw or bandsaw because it's on the wrong angle.
Then I have moment of clarity.
And after all that, it was an easy fix. The mistake was rectified, and no one will ever know. For the other pieces, I made sure to put them on the ends. i.e. the correct place. And I added a round over to get rid of all the sharp edges. These pieces I have attached to the side frames lock into the end frames where I left the braces inset. I installed some threaded inserts to hold them together, but also to allow them to be dismantled when needed. The next step is to create the slats for the bed. I'm going to make these by cutting some boards to the same length as the ends of the bed frame. You can see me here cutting the ends here and then measuring the first cut off the bed frame. This ensures that the slats will be the correct length. I then use that same piece to measure all other pieces that I need to cut. I need 18 slats in total. The slats only need to be half the width of the board, so I need to cut 9 pieces to length and then rip them in half. Don't worry, I'm not going to show you all 9 getting cut. How about just 8 instead? And this is what it looks like to rip them to length. Yeah, you've seen all this before. All that's on video.
Really?
What do you think, Boo?
How about this? This on video?
Yep, that are both recording at the moment.
Yay! I think we on YouTube. Oh! Can we redo that? I don't really want me going on YouTube complaining like that, please. Yes, that would be great.
Oh no, maximum record time.
Oh, look at it. Don't jump on it though, Mango. Sit.
A quick check of the diagonal measurements to make sure that it's square. Perfect. The last thing to do is to secure the slats to the frame. I could just screw them in, but that would mean removing 36 screws every time the bed frame comes apart. I decided instead to use dovetails. I've never successfully used dovetails for anything before. I tried once and failed miserably, so why not give it another go? The plan is to make little spaces to go between each slat, as you can see here. This was very easy with my new sliding table saw. Up to this point in the build, I have had this old homemade table saw. This has served me well, but is very cumbersome to set up for each cut. With this new beast, I can just set the blade angle to 14 degrees, the same as the angle on my dovetail router bit, set the fence to the length of the cut, and use the sliding table to batch out all 30 pieces that I need. Putting the notches in the slats was not much harder. Once I had the fence around my router bit set in place, and a stop block to limit the length of the notch, I could batch them out too. Then it was just a matter of putting all the slats in place, separated by the spaces. Some of the spaces needed trimming slightly. After that, I just screwed the spaces in place, and this bed frame is done. Well, that's all we've got time for in this video. In episode 2 we'll cover making the stand and also the leg for the bed frame. If I ever get around to finishing it, episode 3 will have the drawers and the finished product. If you've watched this far and you aren't already, please consider subscribing, as this helps me out. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll come back for the rest of the build videos.
Can I do the Rat Pack song? Just do what please, taking selfies and that it is on Snapchat. There's a picture of me with a tan from a can like a gingerbread man with a rat pack. Just do what we like, anybody else can take a hike with a backpack. Just get on your bike with the girls with the pearls and the yellow curls that's known under my butt mitt. Ha! Anyway.
That's great, thanks, Jim.
Anyway, I came to ask if we could just do Minecraft instead of watching a movie.